Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. My name is Becky Siegmeyer, and I am the director of the SciTech Internship Program. Today's event is a joint effort between the SciTech Internship Program and the Lewis Stokes North Star STEM Alliance. With me is our Student Outreach Coordinator and Communications Manager, Piper Cleveland, and Crystal Lee Tao, who is the Assistant Director of the Lewis Stokes North Star STEM Alliance. So we'll talk a little bit about SciTech towards the end of the workshop, but Crystal, if you could share a little bit about the North Star STEM Alliance and your role and how people can get involved, that would be great.
Yes, thank you so much, Becky. Like Becky said, first of all, thank you everybody for being here on this Thursday afternoon. My name is Crystal Lee Tao, and I am the Assistant Director for the Lewis Stokes North Star STEM Alliance in the state of Minnesota. I'm also the site coordinator for the program at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, and we have 14 other sites outside of the University of Minnesota. So for those who are not familiar with LS NSSA, we are a NSF grant funded program meant to support students from underrepresented communities to obtain their bachelor's degrees in STEM. And we do this in a few ways. One way is by providing funding for travel. We also have summer and in school year research opportunities for undergraduate students. But of course, we also hold events like this with our partners and with other institutions and organizations. In this case, SciTech is actually an official partner of the Lewis Stokes North Star STEM Alliance. And the hope is that we can engage college STEM students both in all realms of their personal, academic, career, professional development. So anyone who's a college student at any one of our site institutions can become an NSSA scholar. But if you want to know a little bit more about the program, how to become a scholar, or how you can take advantage of any of our funding opportunities, you are more than welcome to contact me. My email is listed there at cklee@umn.edu. I'm also gonna put into the chat my email and also the link to our website so that you can find out more about that too. And I'll hand it back to Becky.
Great, thanks, Crystal. All right, so today's workshop is going to help you learn how to tell your story, especially in the context of a job search. We've designed the workshop to be pretty fast-paced. We're going to try to wrap this up within an hour, and we've got some activities and some tools that you can use immediately after this. So don't be frustrated if you don't finish every activity. This is really designed to help you just get off to a good start and not necessarily walk away with a finished project. All of the resources from today's workshop are going to be available on our Google Drive, and Piper's going to put the link to that right into the chat window. And we're going to tell you this up front so that you don't feel like you have to write everything down as we're going. You can just take a few notes along the way. We're also recording today's event, so you can go back and revisit some things along the way if you'd like to do that later. All right. So by the end of today's workshop, you should be able to do these 4 things. Share the importance of being able to tell your story in the job search process, and describe what an elevator pitch is and identify when and where to use it, to create and practice an elevator pitch, and then craft a response to the question, tell me about yourself. So we really want today's workshop to be interactive. So please use the chat to respond to questions along the way or to ask questions. We'd really like this to not just be a one-way conversation. All right, so we are going to actually jump into our first activity right away. And this warm-up is designed to get you into the groove of talking about yourself. It's also designed to kind of put you into the hot seat and create a little bit of stress. So please listen carefully to the instructions. All right, here's what we want you to do. We're going to give you 20 seconds to write down 2 things, a reason why you chose your major and what kind of experience you'd like to get in an internship. And if you're not looking for an internship but a full-time position, then talk to us a little bit about ideas for an occupation that you'd like to pursue. Okay, so we just want you to write down some words. You don't need to write full sentences, but we're only going to give you 20 seconds and we're going to start now. Go ahead, Piper. Piper, you may want to unmute yourself and let us know when the 20 seconds are up.
Will do. I've got them started. We're 10 seconds in.
All right.
And
There we go.
time.
All right, great. Thanks, Piper. Okay, so what I would like you to do is share with us in the chat how this exercise made you feel. So I know, did it make you feel a little uncomfortable? Were you a little stressed out? You kind of brain dead? You couldn't really think of any words right away? And if you did feel that way, that's pretty common. A lot of times when people are feeling a little bit under pressure, it's hard to really think clearly and put your thoughts together. But if you, do you want us to unmute? Yeah, sure. Go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can put your answers into the chat. Either way. Might be okay. I felt rushed. Yeah, exactly. Feel rushed. Feel a little bit of pressure. Anybody else have some comments? Adriana, did you want to share something? Maybe people are typing. But anyway, when you don't have time to think about a response to a question, it's kind of hard to pull some cohesive thoughts together. But if you are pretty sure that you're going to get a question, you can prepare for it in advance and kind of put your thoughts together, and it's going to help you provide a much better answer, and it's going to help you feel more confident going in. Okay, so that was just an exercise. We don't need to spend a whole lot more time talking about that. And instead, we're going to talk about learning how to tell your story. So the power of knowing how to describe yourself is going to help with all aspects of your job search. Not only with the job search, but also in everyday interactions when you meet new people. So it's really important for you to learn how to tell your story and how to articulate who you are and what you want. When employers are looking to fill a position, they're looking for a certain skill set, but they're also looking for someone who's going to be a good fit for their organization's values and culture. But on the flip side, when you're evaluating your options, you want to make sure that you find a position and a company that's a good fit for you as well. So let's talk about the elevator pitch. It's called this because when you're riding in an elevator, you have very little time to get to the point that you want to make before either you or the other person gets to their destination. So it's useful to have an elevator pitch ready before you go to a career fair or a networking event, or really any time that you think you might be asked, what kind of job are you looking for? Or what are you interested in? It may seem counterintuitive, but you actually want to keep your answer or this elevator pitch kind of short. You can convey a lot of information in 15 to 30 seconds. If it gets much longer than that, you're going to feel a little awkward. It's going to be a little awkward for you and for the person that you're talking to, and it could also feel kind of rehearsed. So you want to convey some really simple information about yourself, and then ask a question to engage the person that you're talking to get the conversation started. In a few minutes, we're going to go into breakout rooms and give you some time to create a pitch of your own. So what I'd like you to do is to either take a picture of the slide, or Piper's also going to put this template into the chat, and I think she may upload a document as well so that you have it with you when you go into the breakout room. Essentially, there's just 4 parts to the elevator pitch. The first one is you're going to share your name, you're going to include your major and where you go to school, and then tell the person what you want. What are you interested in learning, doing, or knowing? And then engage the other person by asking a question. So we're going to take a look at 3 different examples. Okay, so the first example is something a biomedical engineering student might say. Hi, my name is Becky Siegmeyer. I'm majoring in biomedical engineering at the University of Minnesota. I've taken some classes in medical device design, and I have an interest in 3D printing. I'm looking for an internship that combines these two things. I read that your company develops catheters. Do your interns get involved in product design? What qualifications do your interns need to have? Okay, that's the first example. The second one is, hi, I'm Piper Cleveland. I'm about to graduate with a degree in computer science from Mankato State. I've got some experience in mobile app development, and I really enjoy both back-end coding and UX design. I'd like to work in a startup or small company where I could work on a broad range of projects. What are some examples of projects your interns typically work on? And our last example is something that a biology major might say. Hi, my name is Crystal Lee Tao. I'm majoring in biology at Augsburg University. I've taken some classes in environmental science that I really enjoyed, and so I'm looking for an internship that combines these two subjects. I saw that your company does water quality testing. Could you please tell me more about the backgrounds of the people at your company that do this work? Okay, we're going to take 10 minutes to go into breakout rooms so that you can work on your own elevator pitch. So again, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and copy the template out of the chat or download the PDF of the examples. And these are your instructions for the activity. So you're going to take a few minutes to write out your elevator pitch using the template provided. And if there's time, take turns saying your pitches to each other. Piper and I will be going in and out of the breakout rooms as needed to see how you're doing. You can also communicate with us once you get into the breakout room by clicking on the little question mark button, and that will let us know that you need some help. The breakout rooms will be closed in 10 minutes. You'll get a countdown letting you know when there's about a minute left, and then you'll automatically be moved back to the main session. So does anybody have any questions before we get started? Feel free to, it might be faster to just unmute yourself if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll just, we'll go right into the breakout rooms and we can answer your questions there as well. Everybody's back. Okay, very good. Okay, well, how did it go? I hope the template worked well for you. We'd love to have a couple of you brave souls share your examples. You can either put them into the chat and we can read them, or you can read them yourself. Either way, whichever you're more comfortable. But we'd love to have a couple of examples. Hopefully the template worked well for you. And if you want to just type your comments into the chat, that works too. I can't see everybody. Let me see if I can expand this. Is there anybody that wants to unmute and just jump in? Anybody?
We just got one in the chat, Becky.
We did? Okay, very good. All right. Okay, so hi, my name is Nico Martinez. I'm majoring in industrial and systems engineering at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. I've taken some classes on optimization, quality, and reliability that I really enjoyed, as well as have internship experience in battery manufacturing. I'm looking for an internship experience. I'm looking for an internship that builds upon this previous knowledge, as well as provides me with the opportunity to acquire new skills and experiences. I'm very interested in R&D and was wondering how much of R&D produced product in general are organic versus working with vendors. Wow, that's awesome. Very good. Great start. Okay. Does anybody else want to share an example? Yeah, right. Awesome job. Very good. And thanks for sharing. You got to be brave, right? This is totally the place to practice, right? Because we don't matter, right? You're not applying for a job with SciTech, or with a North Star STEM Alliance. So this is a great place to practice and before you get into a real situation. So, all right. Well, we won't belabor it if people are not as interested in sharing. We can just go ahead and move on to the next activity. All right. Oh, here, oh, we got another one. Okay, let's go back. So, hi, my name is Isa. I'm majoring in computer science at the University of Minnesota. I have taken multiple programming courses and have experience in C++ programming and have done multiple projects in computer graphics. And I think, I don't know if it's cut off for me or maybe you're still typing. But Isa shared some stuff with us a little bit before everybody came back. So that's a great start, Isa. I know you've got some questions that you were working through as well. So good job. All right, well, let's keep things moving because I know you guys are going to want to go and get your dinner at 5. So I don't want to keep you late. So we're going to shift to the question, tell me about yourself. All right, this is often one of the first questions that you're going to get in a job interview. You could also get this in an informational interview or a phone screening or even at a networking event. So you want to be prepared to answer this. You might be thinking, what do you want to know? How am I supposed to know, decide what to talk about? These kinds of questions are purposefully ambiguous and open-ended. Essentially, the interviewer is going to ask this question because they want to hear a snapshot of your background and skills, and it also gives them insight into what experience and qualifications that you think are most relevant to the position that you're applying for. So the great thing is that you get to decide what you want to share. You can decide what direction your answer will take and what information that you want to reveal. You're really in the driver's seat here. So the answer to this question is not to share your life story, okay? What you want to do is strategically reveal some basic information about yourself as it relates to the position that you're applying for. So this is your opportunity to create a theme about who you are and to lay the groundwork for how you want the interviewer to perceive you, your strengths, your experience, and your aspirations. So this might sound a little bit daunting, but you're going to be doing this in the form of storytelling. Stories are much easier to remember than a set of facts, especially when you're telling a story about yourself. It will feel a lot more natural too, and that's going to help you be more relaxed when you get into this setting. A simple formula for creating your story is to think in terms of past, present, and future. You can swap the order if that makes more sense for your story and your situation. So let's look at this a little more closely. For the past, you want to tell the interviewer briefly how you got to where you are now, how you got interested in your major or your field of study. And if there's a relevant story about what drew you to your major, you could certainly include that here. And then mention experience, previous experience or current work experience if it's relevant to the position that you're applying for. For the present, you want to talk a little bit about what you're currently doing. You could include volunteer experience or involvement in student groups or projects. And again, you want to try to relate it to the position that you're applying for if you can. And you could also include a recent accomplishment here. For the future, a good place to end your story is to talk about what you're looking to do next and then transition to why are you here for this interview? You want to give the impression that it makes sense for you to be applying for this job. You want to help the interviewer connect the dots to why you would be a good fit for this position. So whatever you do, you want to tie your response to the job description and if you can, the company. Piper's going to upload a PDF that has examples that we're going to share in a minute. So you'll want to download those now. And she's also going to include a link to the document in our Google Drive. All right, so before we get into the examples, I wanted to share a few guidelines about how you would put your response together. I found a couple of great articles that lay out some guidelines for crafting your story, and I highly recommend that after the workshop that you take a look at those examples. And Piper, again, this is in our Google folder, so you can see those articles there. So my guidelines for you are, first of all, I can't emphasize enough that you want to tailor your answer to the role and the company. Interviewers are giving you an opportunity to make a case for why you are the right person for the job. And your best source of information to tailor your answer is going to be the job description. You can, if you can, try to use a few words from the job description in your answer. That's going to really show that you've done your homework. The second thing is you want to be professional. This is not the time to be talking about your family, your hobbies, your friends, that sort of thing. And you want to be succinct so that you don't ramble. Your answer should only take 30 seconds to a minute. I know I myself have, before I understood how all this stuff worked, I've been in interviews where I think I rambled for a couple of minutes and probably bored people to tears, but so be succinct. You want to inject some passion in your response, inject some passion about your field or about the company or about the position in your answer. Your goal is to stand out and try to be memorable. You want to be authentic in that response. You do want to practice your response, but don't memorize it. You want to try to be sound like you're a little bit more off the cuff. Practice saying it out loud, record yourself on your phone and go back and listen to it later to see if you sound credible. And be positive. You don't want to ever badmouth a current or past employer or a professor or classmates, teammates, that sort of thing. And then finally, you want to make a good first impression. So your response to this question can really set the tone for the rest of the interview. You want to show the interviewer that you're prepared, and this is definitely going to help you feel more confident. Okay, so let's take a look at some example answers that are going to be specific to STEM majors. So here's a biomedical engineering example. See if you can spot the formula of the present, past, and future. Hi, I'm a senior at the University of Minnesota, majoring in biomedical engineering. When I was a kid, I saw my grandpa struggle with his health because he had an irregular heartbeat. I saw how life-changing it was to his quality of life when he got a pacemaker, and that got me interested in medical devices. I want to be part of the design and research for a solution that improves people's lives, which is why I'm so excited to learn more about the internship your company is offering. So this is a computer science example. The formula this time is past, present, and future. When I was young, my parents used to let me play with an old PC that was sitting in their office. I had a lot of fun poking around and trying out different buttons, and I quickly figured out how to navigate my way around. One day, my mom signed me up for a kids coding camp, and it was love at first try. Since then, I've built dozens of apps for fun. I feel so fortunate that I've always known what I want to work in, that I want to work in the tech industry. I'm now a sophomore studying software engineering at Mankato State, and I'm really interested in applying my knowledge at the next level. I was really drawn to your mobile app internship, especially because the position requires JavaScript, which I know really well. I'm excited to see my work go live in the real world and look forward to learning more about the position. Okay, our last example is for a chemistry major, and the formula here is present, past, future. I love to bake. The more complicated the recipe and the more exotic the ingredients, the better. So it was only natural when I took my first chemistry class in high school that I absolutely loved it. It's so fascinating to see how different compounds react to each other. When we learned in class about Marie Maynard Daly, an American biochemist who researched compounds and the effect they have on digestion, I realized I could combine these two interests in food science. I'm a chemistry major at St. Olaf, and I'm really interested in applying my lab skills in product development. That's why I'm so interested in this internship at General Mills. Okay, so if you haven't already done so, download the PDF of the examples in the chat so that you have those with you. We're going to put you into breakout rooms for about 15 minutes, and you can work on creating your own story. Use the first 10 to 12 minutes to create your example. Get as far as you can. You don't have to write this out perfectly. Just jot down some words and ideas. Don't worry about perfection. And then when we come back, hopefully just a few of you will be willing to share your example. So who is willing to share? I hope our template and our examples were helpful getting you ready. I think, Adriana, I talked to you when we were when I was in one of the breakout rooms. I'm hoping, since you seem to be making pretty good progress, if you would like to share, that would be awesome.
Sure, I can go. I've kind of copy pasted a bunch of sentences from lots of college essays and thrown it together. So hopefully
Okay,
it makes sense. But I'm gonna just read off my paragraph.
sure.
And for context, I'm studying math and aerospace engineering.
Right.
And I wrote, when I was in elementary school, I was gifted the card game set. Printed on the cards were various shapes of different colors, shadings, and quantities. And the objective of the game was to create triplets of cards that adhered to the quite specific rules. As I continued to play this game, I wired my brain to find order in the chaos of elements that differentiated these cards from one another, yet made them all the more similar. And throughout my life, I've continued to play this game with my friends and family. And as my adoration for math continued, I've watched numerous documentaries around the study of math and its history, and read books about math and the universe, such as, quote, Our Mathematical Universe by Max Tegmark. And I'm absorbed by the vast amounts of information still left unexplained about outer space and the questions asked throughout Tegmark's novel. And I'm ecstatic to continue to foster my passion for mathematics and its underpinnings in the universe through this position.
Wow. That's great. That one I mean, your stories about your past and then bringing it ahead to the future are really great. Good job with that. You'll want to practice that one and get it to the point where you can, you don't want to memorize it, but be able to just talk about it. But because you're sharing stories about your actual life experience, it's way easier to tell your story when you're not trying to memorize a bunch of facts. So really awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, really great job. I mean, that's amazing in 15 minutes. Piper, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
Oh, well, there is another response that someone put in the chat.
Okay, yeah, why don't you go ahead and read it?
Okay, so this comes from Stefan. Said, I grew up loving science and a passion to create efficiency. Since high school, I went a different direction and ended up as the operations manager for Aramark at the University of Minnesota. There I managed all of the concessions for every venue on campus. I'm hoping to combine my love of science and my last career. I love working with all the departments and finding ways to make their jobs more efficient and implementing new procedures and processes. I hope to become an engineering operations manager.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are knocking it out of the park. This is great. Really good job. Yeah. Make sure you save these. Really great. Okay. We got another message. Yeah, these are really good. I agree, Crystal. These are great.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to share? How do you like the format of the formula of the past, present, future? Does that help you think about how to put your story together? I'm hoping that these examples were helpful. Yes, okay, great. All right, very good. Does anybody else want to share? Does anybody have any questions? Any part of it that you stumbled on? Like I said, I know it's hard when you don't have a specific job in mind when I'm telling you to tie your response to to the job description. And we didn't have a job description, but anyway, hopefully you got the gist of it anyway, which I think you definitely did. So, okay, well, we're going to move ahead, but if anybody else has some examples, maybe Piper, you could watch the chat and we'll stop and we'll share if anybody else has one that they want to talk about. Okay, very good. So just as a quick recap about what we covered today, when you're creating an elevator pitch, you want to remember to keep it short, just provide some basic information and then ask a question to engage your listener. And when you're creating a response to this question, tell me about yourself, try to use a story format using past, present, future, or some other combination of that. You want to be succinct, you don't want to ramble, and you want to tie your reason for being at the interview to the position and the company whenever possible. So save your drafts from today's workshop and continue to develop that, and then you'll be prepared when a real opportunity presents itself. The other thing I can't stress enough is to make use of your career services office. You pay for that service through your student fees, and they have some really great tools and and things for you to take advantage of, and they're there to help you. So they're a really great resource. Again, you're going to find everything from today's presentation in that Google Drive folder. I think Piper's going to put that link in the chat one more time. And before we go, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the SciTech Internship Program. If you're looking for an internship in a STEM field, you want to be sure to sign up for SciTech. What we do is help college STEM majors connect to paid internship opportunities in small companies across the state. The state provides the funding for the program, and part of that funding involves a wage reimbursement for employers. And so they have a really big incentive to use our program to find their talent. So you want to be part of that pool. There are new jobs that are being posted every week. And once you're part of the program, Piper's going to send you an email every week to let you know about the new positions that have been posted, so you can kind of keep an eye on opportunities as they come up. You'll see the eligibility requirements and this link for the student application on our website, scitechmn.org. And while you're there, you can check out our blog, and Piper writes stories every week, and they highlight the kinds of internships that students are working in, and you can get a really good feel for what these are like. They are fantastic opportunities, so I highly recommend it. If you have any questions about SciTech, you can contact Piper at the email that's shown on the screen, scitechmn@mintech.org. All right. So that's all that we have for you. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got about 5 minutes left, and we can hang around and answer any further questions that people might have. I see Crystal also put the link to the North Star STEM website as well. So happy to answer any final questions, or if anybody wants to share their example, we can hang out. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Good luck with your finals, and happy holidays. All right, thanks everybody. Glad you enjoyed it. Bye.
Thank you.